Bang, Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is not with us, and I'm about to show you a badass knife. This knife was sent to us by Acuminous Edge. Thank you so much, buddy. He always sends us amazing, amazing knives. This one I didn't get to use or anything. This is a Marfione Custom Anax, and this isn't a knife that I got to use or anything like that, but he did send some amazing knives that I did get to use, so I did get to do some really, going to do some really good full reviews on some of the other knives and do the good and the bad on them. With this one, I'm going to still do the good and the bad, but just know I didn't get to sharpen it. I barely got to carry it. I just carried it around the house, took it for a walk. Didn't ever get in the car with it or anything like that. Basically just got to gawk and drool on it a little bit. Don't worry, bud. I cleaned the drool off of it. It is an amazing knife. Let's get into the good and the bad of this badass knife. First up, we have the Spyderco Shaman. You can tell this is a big knife. Oh yeah, this is an 8.5-inch knife with a 3.6-inch blade. Next up is the Hogue Ritter RSK MK1. And we will do one other custom that my buddy sent, and we will be doing the review very shortly on this, but this is another Marfione custom. This is the Marfione Custom Strider. Very badass. Review coming shortly. But yes, this is a Marfione Microtech Custom Anax, and it is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful knife. I love this hollow ground blade. It's so deep, and it goes up so high too. The hollowness goes all the way up to the top. Beautiful stone wash, yet it has a nice reflective finish, as you can see. Very, very nice stone washing. Beautiful drop point blade. They did miss the plunge grind with the sharpening choil that you can use with your finger. This, the groove right here is done very well for the action. Let's just get into the action. You can middle finger flick this thing in any spot on the knife. I mean, the fidget ability on this thing is amazing. You can thumb flick it. You just put your thumb all the way up there into that little corner, and bang. You can also front flip it. All of the action, of the ways of using the action, all work really good. I love the action on this thing. And since he didn't chamfer the fuller, it is nice and sharp, which I'm so thankful that it is, because without it being sharp, it wouldn't be so easy to manipulate. And it's not sharp where it's going to cut you or anything. It's just sharp to where it gives you that little purchase you need to flick, and manipulate. Now, that being said, everywhere else on the blade is chamfered. You can tell every detail of this thing has been thought through. Every little tiny detail. And you can see all the little spots around the blade. They're all just, ground very, very nice. This is so smooth. Very nice. Nice thick tip. You don't have to worry about that tip breaking off. Very nice deep hollow grind. Goes up so high. The jimping right here, you can get purchase. And so many, well, let me just say, there's so many ways to hold this knife. It's got basically a grip for any grip you like. If you like to choke up, and plus you got jimping right there if you want it. You can choke back a little bit. In the reverse grip, it feels good. Back here feels really good. Any which way you want, it feels really good. And if you look at the handle, see how it's got like this little tiny divot right here, right there. You see that? There's that little groove, and then it's got this groove right here, and it's chamfered really nice. It is so perfect for your hand. Like, literally your hand fits so good right here. This is so comfortable. And then the grooves back here, everything's softened so nicely. And it also has like kind of like a wave going through it, like contoured for your hand. Like it like goes like swells like that. You see the little swell right there. It kind of makes the lines look bent. Like, it doesn't, but they're actually straight. I think they're straight. Well, what it is they look weird because they're going over the hill. Like, it tends to not confuse me, but to make me wonder if it is grooved or curved or not. If if they go like this or if they're just perfectly straight. But they are straight. They're just going over that hump. Anyways, this is an integral knife. So it was made in a 2-piece construction with the lock bar as the secondary piece. Now this is Microtech, so all the hardware is made in-house. So if you want the tool to take this apart, you do have to get it from Microtech, and I'm sure it's expensive. Or you can just send the knife in and have them work on it. You see the ceramic ball. It's also ceramic bearing, ceramic detent ball, or ceramic detent. Very, very smooth. Very luxurious feeling. And then listen to the clicks. All these little clicks, it's a very satisfying feeling. All right, so the lock bar has a tick, yet you don't feel lock stick or nothing. No lock stick, it's just got a tick, which it makes you feel like this thing is locked up nice and solid, and I like that feeling. Tick. And then the second one is when it hits the detent ball. So then you got the next one, which is when it sinks in. So you got all these little I love that. It's so mechanical sounding. It's amazing. You can also unlock it like this, because you can put your thumb right here on this little spot right there. Unlock it this direction and go that way. Very easy to manipulate. It's so fun to play with. You can see on the clip, it's got the cutouts right there to make it nice and springy, but it's got really strong tension. Every little detail is gone over on this thing. There is it's like a lanyard, but it's a spike. And what it does is it screws in right here, and then there's a metal wire, and then there's a titanium spike at the end. I wouldn't imagine anybody would carry it with that. It's probably just for like sitting on your knife shelf or something, you know, to look really cool. It does have an amazingly big stop pin. I love that. And you can see the little nestle right there, how it sits right there. The stop pin is very big. I love that. See, there's even jimping right there. I'm sorry for the focus, guys. But this thing is just done so well. Every little detail's gone over so nicely. I love all the ways you can hold it and all the ergos. Now, is there any bad? Well, let's go over the bad stuff really quickly and get it out of the way. So there are a couple little things, but let's just get into them. All right, so this is a hand ground blade, right? It's all custom made, so this is a hand ground blade. There are some little inconsistencies from one side to the other, but that's something you're going to kind of expect when it's hand done. Remember, a robot didn't do this, a hand did it. So, like, there's little tiny inconsistencies from one side to the other. They don't 100% match up. And then the sharpening, this was done on a belt. I can tell because the grip pattern is going straight up and down, which means he held it on a belt and went like that, while the belt went up and down, or, you know, just went in one direction, you know, in a circle. And he put it on a belt. Well, I don't doubt that he didn't get it overheated. I wouldn't even think of that. I'm not thinking of that at all. But the sharpening on one side to the other towards the heel, it's barely off, just a little bit. Just figured I'd mention it's not a big deal, because you can always resharpen your knife, and you can always pay to have somebody resharpen it. Now, I did not sharpen it. I would have loved to, but I did not. So I can't tell if it's a little off on one side because the grind is off on one side. It possibly could be. And that would be so subtle that any hand sharpener could, should be able to still match up the bevel on one side from one side to the other. But it's just something to note, and it's so subtle I can't even show you because, or maybe I can. If you look, one side is a little bit smaller towards the heel, and it's just a little bit of the heel. Now, I don't know if when he ground the blade, one side is a little deeper than the other. I can't feel it. I can't tell. But that's one thing. The other thing, it doesn't sit that deep in the pocket, and this is a custom knife, so when it is in the pocket, this is going to be out, and then this is going to be out. And if you're rubbing up against anything, it's going to get scratched up back here, and you'll see the wear and stuff like that if you knock into stuff. The hardware, I don't think that's a big deal because it was made in-house, so he could have did hardware that could be easily taken apart, but the only thing you're really going to be taking apart would be the pivot, because this is an integral. It's all one solid piece, aside from the lock bar, but why would you take off the lock bar? So you would only take off the pivot, and technically you could take off the pivot and then slip this out and, clean it, whatever, and put it back. But you could always send it back. This is an expensive knife. You could always just have him work on it. But if you did buy the tool, you can just do it yourself. And I can imagine this would be a very easy job. So it would have been nice if he included that with the stuff, but he did not. Now, this jimping right here doesn't bother you at all. Everything, like I said, everything's chamfered so good. I do have a big callus right there, so it's hard for me to really get bothered by stuff like that. But even with my tip of my finger, the jimping's rounded really nice right there in a way, because when it comes around, it's just right there. So there's really no need for it, and it's not like the type of jimping that bothers you. This is more softer jimping. It's not as aggressive as this jimping, so which is for flipping and for your thumb. But there's not too many bad things about this. It's just so well done, and every detail is, all right, this is one thing I really like about it, is it's for such a plain looking knife, it has so many little details. The swell in there, like the wave that goes on in there, all the little details on the blade, all the chamfering and roundness, and then just every little detail for your fingers to land. Look how this steel insert is. Look how closely matched that is. You can't even see the line barely right there, but that's the insert. You see the line there, and then it goes around to the front right there. You can barely see it, but you see how it matches up with the jimping on the lock bar. The lock bar is very easy to get to. It's not sharp at all. It's a nice strong lock bar, yet very easy to disengage. Doesn't bother you at all. So many ways to deploy. This knife is absolutely amazing, and I enjoyed getting to check this thing out so much. This thing is incredible. Love it, love it, love it. Peace.